You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Cryptography is the science of protecting information through mathematical techniques that ensure confidentiality, integrity, and non-repudiation. Confidentiality means only authorized parties can read the data. Integrity ensures the information has not been altered, and non-repudiation guarantees that the sender cannot deny their involvement in an action or communication. These three goals underpin nearly all security operations. Cryptography transforms data into protected formats, whether through scrambling, signing, or hashing, so that even if intercepted, it cannot be misused. For learners, cryptography is not abstract math. It is the practical foundation of secure communication and trust in digital systems. At a high level, cryptography falls into two main types: symmetric and asymmetric. Symmetric cryptography uses a single shared key for both encryption and decryption, making it efficient but requiring secure key exchange between parties. Asymmetric cryptography, by contrast, uses a pair of mathematically related keys, one public and one private. This removes the need to share the secret key itself, enabling secure exchanges across untrusted networks. While symmetric encryption is faster and ideal for large volumes of data, asymmetric encryption enables secure key distribution and authentication, making both approaches complementary in real-world systems. Public and private keys are central to asymmetric cryptography. A public key is openly shared and used by anyone to encrypt information or verify a signature, while the private key is kept secret and used to decrypt messages or create signatures. The relationship between the two is mathematical. What one key encrypts, the other can decrypt. For example, if Alice encrypts a message using Bob's public key, only Bob's private key can unlock it. This system enables secure communications without ever sharing private keys, establishing a powerful model for digital trust. Public Key Infrastructure, or PKI, is the system that manages keys, certificates, and trust relationships. Its purpose is to make asymmetric cryptography usable at scale by providing a framework to issue, validate, and revoke digital certificates. PKI acts as the foundation for secure web browsing, email signing, code signing, and countless other digital services. Without PKI, asymmetric encryption would be difficult to manage because users would lack a trusted way to confirm that a public key really belongs to the claimed individual or organization. PKI provides this assurance, creating a practical framework for identity and trust. Roles within PKI are well defined. The Certificate Authority, CA, is the trusted entity that issues digital certificates after verifying identity. The Registration Authority, RA, supports this process by validating requests and forwarding them to the CA. The subject is the person, system, or organization receiving the certificate. Together, these roles ensure that certificates are only issued to legitimate entities and that the trust model functions reliably. This division of responsibilities reduces errors and strengthens accountability, ensuring that PKI processes remain both secure and auditable. A digital certificate is the primary artifact produced by PKI. Certificates bind an identity to a public key, ensuring that the key truly belongs to the person or system it claims. Certificates typically contain information such as the subject's name, the public key, the issuing CA, the certificate's validity period, and usage restrictions. They are signed by the CA to prove authenticity. Without certificates, users would have no way to distinguish between a genuine public key and a malicious imposter, making certificates the linchpin of digital identity verification. The certificate issuance lifecycle begins with a certificate signing request, or CSR, where a subject generates a key pair and requests a certificate. The request is validated by the RA and processed by the CA, which issues a signed certificate. That certificate is then installed on servers, systems, or applications to support secure operations. Certificates eventually expire and must be renewed, or they may be revoked if compromised. This life cycle ensures that certificates remain accurate, trustworthy, and relevant over time, reinforcing PKI's role as an ongoing service rather than a one-time process. Certificates are structured hierarchically into root, intermediate, and end entity levels. The root certificate sits at the top of the hierarchy, representing ultimate trust, and is used sparingly to sign intermediate certificates. Intermediates handle most issuance, reducing the risk to root material. End-entity certificates are those used by servers, users, or devices in real-world scenarios. This hierarchy adds resilience, since intermediates can be replaced if compromised without invalidating the root. Learners should understand that this layered model protects the integrity of PKI by limiting the exposure of its most critical assets. Trust chains and the concept of a root of trust are fundamental to PKI. A certificate chain links end-entity certificates to intermediates and ultimately to a trusted root CA. Devices and applications ship with root CA certificates pre-installed, forming the anchor of trust. When a browser verifies a website certificate, it follows this chain to confirm it originates from a trusted root. Without this trust chain, digital communications would lack assurance, as anyone could generate false certificates. Trust chains make it possible for global systems like the Internet to operate securely across billions of connections. Certificate revocation ensures that certificates can be invalidated before their natural expiration date. Revocation is necessary when a certificate is compromised, when the subject's identity changes, or when the certificate is no longer needed. Common mechanisms include certificate revocation lists, CRLs, and the Online Certificate Status Protocol, OCSP, which allows systems to check the validity of certificates in real time. Without revocation, compromised certificates could continue to be trusted, undermining the security of PKI. Learners should see revocation as a safeguard that keeps trust flexible and responsive. PKI supports a variety of critical use cases. Secure web browsing relies on PKI through TLS certificates that protect confidentiality and integrity. Email signing uses certificates to authenticate senders and prevent tampering. Code signing allows developers to prove the authenticity of software, ensuring users can trust that applications have not been altered. These scenarios demonstrate the practical importance of PKI in daily life. From checking your bank's website to installing software updates, PKI underpins the trust that makes digital interactions safe and reliable. Cryptography and PKI together form the mechanisms that establish digital trust. Cryptography provides the mathematical foundations, while PKI creates the framework for managing identities and keys at scale. Without them, the Internet and enterprise systems could not function securely. They ensure confidentiality, integrity, authentication, and non-repudiation across countless applications. For learners, this reinforces the idea that cryptography and PKI are not optional add-ons, but essential pillars of modern cybersecurity. They transform digital environments from inherently untrustworthy spaces into ones where trust can be established and verified. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. A certificate signing request, or CSR, is the formal request a subject makes when seeking a digital certificate. It includes the subject's public key and identifying information, such as domain name or organization details, but never the private key. The CSR is submitted to a certificate authority, which validates the information and, if approved, issues a signed certificate. The CSR process ensures that certificates are generated with keys created by the requester, maintaining control and privacy. For learners, the CSR illustrates how PKI balances identity verification with security of key material. Certificate revocation is enforced through mechanisms like certificate revocation lists, CRLs, and the Online Certificate Status Protocol, OCSP. CRLs are lists of revoked certificates periodically published by CAs, while OCSP allows real-time verification of a certificate's status. Together, these tools prevent compromised or invalid certificates from being trusted indefinitely. While CRLs can be slow to update, OCSP provides more timely responses, though it requires online availability. For learners, the takeaway is that revocation is vital to PKI, as it provides the agility to respond to compromised keys or misissued certificates. Self-signed certificates are those signed by the entity that created them, rather than by a trusted CA. They are useful for testing, internal systems, or personal encryption, but are not trusted by default in broader ecosystems like web browsers. Their limitation is that no external validation exists to confirm authenticity, making them unsuitable for public-facing services. For learners, self-signed certificates highlight the importance of trust chains and external validation in PKI, reminding us that cryptography alone is not enough without a framework of accountability. Protecting private keys is one of the most critical responsibilities in PKI. If a private key is stolen, attackers can impersonate the key owner, decrypt messages, or sign malicious software. Organizations must store private keys securely, often using hardware security modules, HSMs, or encrypted vaults. Key protection includes access restrictions, strong encryption, and monitoring for misuse. For learners, this underscores the point that the strength of PKI depends not only on cryptography but also on how rigorously key secrecy is maintained. Certificates have defined lifetimes, after which they expire and must be renewed. Expiration reduces risk by ensuring certificates cannot be used indefinitely, which limits exposure if keys are compromised. However, certificates expiring unexpectedly can disrupt services, as seen in public outages caused by unrenewed certificates. Balancing certificate lifetimes requires considering both security and operational convenience. For learners, certificate expiration demonstrates how even strong cryptography can fail if operational discipline and lifecycle management is neglected. Key escrow refers to the practice of storing private keys with a trusted third party for recovery purposes. While this ensures that encrypted data can be retrieved if a key is lost, it introduces risk that the escrow holder could be compromised. Organizations weigh the benefits of data recovery against the risk of centralized key exposure. In some regulatory contexts, escrow is required for law enforcement access. Learners should see key escrow as a trade-off between resilience and privacy, a reminder that technical and policy considerations often intersect in PKI. PKI management tasks include issuing new certificates, renewing expiring ones, revoking compromised or outdated certificates, and maintaining an inventory of active certificates. These tasks require structured processes and automation at scale, as large organizations may manage thousands of certificates. Failure in certificate management can cause outages, compliance failures, or security breaches. For learners, PKI management illustrates the ongoing operational side of cryptography. It is not just math and keys, but also governance, workflows, and monitoring. Interoperability between PKI systems is another challenge, especially in environments with multiple vendors or cross-organizational trust. Standards such as X509 and protocols like TLS make interoperability possible, but mismatched policies or implementations can still create friction. For example, a certificate trusted in one organization may not be recognized in another. Interoperability ensures that secure communications extend seamlessly across organizational and technical boundaries, which is critical for modern distributed systems and global business operations. PKI also supports non-repudiation by enabling digital signatures. When a message or file is signed with a private key, the signature can be verified by anyone with the public key, proving both authenticity and integrity. Because the private key is tied uniquely to its owner, signatures prevent denial of authorship. This provides assurance in legal, financial, and compliance contexts, where accountability is essential. For learners, non-repudiation highlights how PKI extends beyond confidentiality. It ensures that actions in digital systems are attributable and undeniable. The security of PKI relies heavily on the protection of certificate authorities, especially the root CA. If a root or intermediate CA is compromised, all certificates it issued may become untrustworthy. This is why root keys are often stored offline in hardened facilities and used only sparingly. Intermediate authorities are employed to limit exposure, with their compromise being serious but less catastrophic than losing a root. Learners should see secure CA practices as the anchor of trust. If the root is not protected, the entire PKI ecosystem collapses. PKI must be treated as an organizational service requiring lifecycle governance. Certificates and keys cannot be deployed and forgotten. They demand continuous oversight, renewal, and revocation as business and security needs evolve. Governance ensures policies are applied consistently, responsibilities are clear, and compliance is maintained. Without lifecycle governance, PKI becomes fragile, leading to outages and security gaps. For learners, this demonstrates how PKI is not a static solution but an ongoing commitment to maintaining digital trust. In conclusion, cryptography provides the mathematical foundation of secure communication, and PKI provides the operational framework to manage identities, trust, and accountability at scale. Together, they support confidentiality, integrity, authentication, and non-repudiation in nearly every digital service we use. From browsing securely to signing code, PKI and cryptography ensure that digital interactions are verifiable and trustworthy. For learners, the lesson is clear. Cryptography is the science. PKI is the system, and both are indispensable for modern cybersecurity. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.